Okay, fair warning, this show contains strong language and adult themes from time to time. I can't help it. I love to make my mother uncomfortable. Hi, I'm Haley Williams. Welcome to episode 2 of Everything is Emo. Let's get this one started off on the right foot. Here we go. Oh, Bloc Party. This is a band that I could have almost missed this train, honestly. I don't know if that's just being from America, what age I was, I don't know, but I'm so lucky that my cousin actually turned me on to this band. And my memories of listening to Bloc Party are just driving around in circles in the mall parking lot late at night, because there was absolutely nowhere to go where we lived, just south of Nashville, Tennessee. So Bloc Party means a lot to me. They remind me of my teenage years, kind of finding my own independence. Banquet is one of the first songs that introduced me to Bloc Party. It's an important track off of a really important record. This is from Bloc Party's debut album, Silent Alarm, which I feel like really set the tone for an era of music where like emo, punk, and dance, punk kind of collided. And that was the sweet spot that I just found myself really obsessed with when I was about 14 or 15 years old. I actually think that Bloc Party might have been one of the first new bands as a teenager that I got into that were from across the pond. There was so much mystique around that for me because, Paramore hadn't yet started touring, so I didn't know anything about the UK. It made me imagine the UK as like this booming multicultural metropolis that was obviously cooler than any other place on the planet because it just felt so mysterious and I don't know, like it had the right kind of edges to it. This sound that Bloc Party embodied, I think really did color my early impressions of what the music scene in the UK might be like. And it wasn't for another couple of years that I would actually get to tour and play shows and venues over there. You know, all the barflies and the small rooms in the Academy. Like, I still think of certain bands when we go over to the UK to play shows, and Bloc Party is always in the back of my mind. So this is episode 2, and I'm so excited about this playlist. When compiling this playlist and choosing artists like Bloc Party, Foo Fighters, Tegan and Sara, it just made me think of life as a teenager and how these songs made me feel, my first taste of independence. And this is one of those songs right here. I will be honest, I'd forgotten about this band, this album, and what this moment meant in kind of the intersection of like mainstream pop punk, more underground emo and darker influences. This moment was massive. Blink-182 were already huge in their own right. Tom and Travis were already superstars in their own right. But for them to go out on their own, start this band, and play music that, quite honestly, I listened to, and I heard so many influences that you don't get to hear on prior Blink-182 albums. I love this song in particular. I love that it has such a long intro and it just feels heavy. Maybe you've forgotten about it too, but I don't think that we should forget about this moment in time, which is Boxcar Racer, I Feel So.
Wish I was stronger, wish I could feel no pain. Wish I was young, wish I was shy. I wish I was honest, wish I was you, not I. 'Cause I feel so mad, I feel so angry, feel so callous, so lost, confused again. Feel so cheap, so used, unfaithful. Let's start over. Sometimes I wish I was smart. I wish I made cures for how people are. I wish I had power. I wish I could lead. I wish I could change the world for you and me. 'Cause I feel so mad, I feel so angry, feel so callous, so lost, confused again. Feel so cheap, so used, unfaithful. Let's start over, let's start over.
I hear this song, I think about MTV, funny enough. It doesn't sound very punk of me, but you know, the early 2000s were actually such a cool time to be a teenager watching MTV, TRL. There was a lot of alternative music and punk music that came from a certain scene, and sort of like suddenly everyone was talking about bands that at one point, you know, a few hundred of us were seeing in clubs, you know. Blink-182, a very, very big band already well established, very well known for being super West Coast pop punk, you know, goofy, funny, crass. For Tom and Travis to put out this project that felt very serious and heavy, and like, I remember being really taken aback. I was watching MTV, I was sitting in the living room in my mom and I's apartment, and I just thought, this is cool. I love Blink-182, but I didn't like listen to the early records. I was really young. I remember having a crush on Mark when I was like 8, and I had a sticker of him on my skate box that my skates were in. I wasn't even allowed to listen to their records as a kid. So being, I don't know what age I was, 13, 14 years old, and having my own discovery, it was really cool for me. I still remember the video very vividly. Oh my God, I remember the colors. I remember the way that the video felt when I watched it. Like, it just felt grimy in the best way. And seeing that part of the scene magnified in the mainstream was wild. That was a crazy moment for me. All right, so it's time for our On Shuffle album. For this episode, I have chosen none other than A Fever You Can't Sweat Out by Panic! At the Disco. This record came out right around the same time that Paramore's All We Know Is Falling, our debut album, came out. And this band changed everything. It really did. And I will be very honest with you. As a teenager, I was like, well, damn, like, what do we have to do to like get people to notice us the way that Panic! At the Disco is getting people to notice them? We were both very young. I feel like our two bands were the youngest bands in the scene at the time. And it was insane what happened, because Pete Wentz wore a Panic! At the Disco shirt on television for an interview that they did with like Carson Daly or someone on MTV. And that was it. Off to the races, man. You couldn't go anywhere without hearing Panic! At the Disco. You couldn't go anywhere without seeing their videos. You remember like being at the mall and like a shoe store like Journeys or something, and they've always got those TVs that play music videos? Like, this was the music video on a loop for 1,000 years. Panic! At the Disco, A Fever You Can't Sweat Out. Any song, pick any song, and it was massive. So we really couldn't do an On Shuffle record that wasn't A Fever You Can't Sweat Out. We really had to go to this one. So let's see what we get. Let's shuffle. Oh, yes. Okay, this is actually my favorite song off of this album. This is called Nails for Breakfast, Tacks for Snacks.
Watch your mouth, oh, because your speech is slurred enough that you just might swallow your tongue. I'm sure you would want to give up the ghost with just a little more poison that. Or was it God who chokes in these situations? Running late, oh no, he called in. Or was it God who chokes in these situations? Running late, oh no, he called in. The hospice is a relaxing weekend getaway where you're a cut above all the rest. Sick and sad patients on first name basis with all the top physicians. Prescribe pills, all 7 shades, to offset the pills. You know you should take it a day at a time. That's when you just started something profound. The support on the line, and with the way you've arrogance, our patience on first name basis with all the top physicians.
If you like what you're hearing, remember you can download episodes of Everything is Emo to listen to anytime offline. All right, so this is a really important band to everyone, the whole world, but such an important band to Paramore. When I first met the guys, there were a few albums that we talked about a lot, that we referenced a lot. Foo Fighters, that was a band that always came up. What would they do? What would Taylor Hawkins do? I think any band that really puts a lot of emphasis on drums, which the three of us all play drums, so it's a very important aspect of our songwriting, you have to think about Foo Fighters. When we first started playing shows, Zach really needed a good drum kit. And a friend that lived in town lent him a drum kit, which he ultimately gave to him. And it belonged to Taylor Hawkins first. Taylor had sold his drum kit to a place called Forks Drum Closet in Nashville that's been a staple in our city for a really long time. It's just always been a great source. And so the fact that somehow Zach ended up with Taylor Hawkins' kit for our first shows, our first tours, it's like we stole a blessing from Taylor Hawkins. It's like we took it as him saying, yes, go forth and continue. I don't know, I think about Taylor Hawkins a lot when I just think about Zach's playing. And I don't want to center myself or Paramore in the conversation around Taylor Hawkins' death, but it's just to say that he meant a lot to so many people. And there's so many stories I'm sure we've yet to hear about him and things that he's done for people, ways that he touched people's lives. But I think more than anything, as a music fan, and as a Foo Fighters fan, I love what he did for Dave Grohl. I listened to this album, There's Nothing Left to Lose, and I know that it's the first record that Taylor played on. You know, he joined the Foo Fighters and they made this record together. And you can hear such a difference. I think that it brought out something in Dave Grohl's voice and the way that he wrote, all of it, that it just really resonates with me. And I loved this record so much as a teenager. My favorite song on the record, I think, is really fitting, and I now just like to think of it as some sort of tribute that Dave Grohl has written that now, you know, can carry on forever and ever. And I love that it ends with him just singing on and on and on and on. This is Aurora by Foo Fighters.
says you got away with murder. Maybe one time, maybe two. Something happens in the morning when I can't see those failing eyes. I can't find a good word for you. Does it come as a surprise? I don't think we'd rhyme. I will wear you down in time. I will hurt you, I'll desert you. I am Jackie down the line. Said this Sally about a future before you bought off her as well. If all you want is entertainment, if you can't have it, you'll make hell. Don't make no one for you to be told, yeah. Don't make no one for you to be told, yeah. I don't think we'd rhyme. I will wear you down in time. I will hurt you, I'll desert you. I am Jackie down the line. I don't think we'd rhyme. I will make your secrets mine. I will hate you, I'll debase you. I am Jackie down the line. So come on down to Sally's Boneyard. See her spirit in decline. See the handsome mourners crying. They have to beating hard for a sturdy spine, yeah. What good is happiness to me if we're to wield it carefully? For care I'll always come up short. It's only right I don't think we'd rhyme. I will wear you down in time. I will hurt you, I'll desert you. I'm one jacking of a line. I don't think we'd rhyme. I will take up all your time. I will chew you, I'll go through you. I am Jackie down the line. I don't think we'd rhyme. I will make your secrets mine. I will hate you, I'll debase you. I am Jackie down the line. And I will stone you, I'll alone you. I am Jackie down the line. If I can't make you, I can't break you. I am Jackie down the line. I am Jackie down the line. Do do do. La la la.
All right, so that is one of my favorite songs of the year. I'm gonna say top 5 songs of the year. Fontaines DC are killing it. And I feel like it's important to say that they have things to say. They're just a really cool and I think very important band for now. You know, I heard I Love You and I heard this song, Jackie Down the Line, and I just thought of memories that I have listening to Oasis, Joy Division. Like, those are the greats, you know? These are classic bands with classic albums, classic songs. And I feel like Fontaines DC will be a band that generations from now we're going to talk about as having this sound that is distinct for our time, but also timeless. It seems like Fontaines DC is not super well known in the States, but to me, that's actually really special when a band can still sort of belong to a scene. It lets people feel like they can take ownership a little bit. I know that feeling being a teenager that's into punk music and emo for the sake of this show. It's important to be able to feel like you belong to a scene and you have ownership and you're at the show and you know them before anybody else. Fontaines DC still kind of has that over here in the States, but I also don't think it'll be like that for long. Let's put A Fever You Can't Sweat Out back on shuffle and see what we get.
lungs, boy, you know it feels good with fire back on your tongue. If you talk, you better walk, you better back your shit up with more than good hooks while you're all under the gun. Start talking a sensationalist, oh, he's slightly clever too, just a certain extent. Whoa, keep quiet, let us sing like the dogs. Then decide if it's done with purpose or lack thereof. Just for the record, the weather today is slightly sarcastic with a good chance of A. Indifference of B, disinterest in what the critics say. It's time for us to take a chance. It's time for us. Well, we're just a wet dream for the web scene. Make us hit, make us hip, make us seen. Or shrug us off your shoulders on our prove a single word that we wrong. Well, we're just a wet dream for the web scene. Make us hit, make us hip, make us seen. Or shrug us off your shoulders on our prove a single word that we wrong. Just for the record, the weather today is slightly sarcastic with a good chance of A. Indifference to B, disinterest in what the critics say. Well, we're just a wet dream for the web scene. Make us hit, make us hip, make us seen. Or shrug us off your shoulders on our prove a single word that we wrong. Well, we're just a wet dream for the web scene. Make us hit, make us hip, make us seen. Or shrug us off your shoulders on our prove a single word that we wrong. Just for the record, the weather today is slightly sarcastic with a good chance of A. Indifference of B, disinterest in what the critics say.
Okay, so we've got London Beckoned. That's an abbreviation for the full title, which is so long, but I'll give it a shot. London Beckoned songs about money written by machines. Panic at the Disco have some of the longest song titles. This to me is the epitome of the MySpace era of emo. Like super long titles, long away messages on your AOL Instant Messenger. Panic at the Disco had a lot to say. This was a time where lyricists in emo were like, I can't fit all this into 140 characters, so you're gonna get all of my thoughts about it. We have too much to say and we will not edit ourselves.
Someone found the future as a statue in a fountain, and attention looking backward in a pool of water. Wishes with a blue songbird on his shoulder, who keeps singing over everything. Everything means nothing to me. Everything means nothing to me. Everything means nothing to me. I picked up the song and found my picture in the paper. The reflection in the water showed an Iron Man still trying to salute people from a time when he was everything he's supposed to be. Everything means nothing to me. 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 Everything means nothing to me.
Oh boy, this is such a beautiful song. Oh my god. The first time I heard Elliott Smith, first time that I heard Everything Means Nothing to Me by Elliott Smith was a mix CD that Zach made for me when we first became friends. And I don't know how many of you are my age out there, how many of you grew up, you were in school in junior high or high school in the early 2000s, but mix CDs were our generation's version of the infamous mixtape. The mixtape that expresses all of your feelings in exactly the right order, what you want to say to, a friend or someone you've just met that you're trying to get to know, maybe a crush or whatever. But Zach was really good at making mix CDs for all of his friends. And because I was the newest kid at school, we were all around the same age, and we all loved music. He just thought, well, you should know about the music that I listen to. And I was like, well, have you ever heard of Aaliyah? Because that's just about all I listen to at the moment. And I have to say, Zach really gave me a great education in music. And he was younger than me, and he was so much cooler than me. And I still have these mixes as playlists on my computer that I can go back to and just feel all of those feelings, man. Like, I love Elliott Smith so much. And man, I think that if you love this genre of music, you should know Elliott Smith's records. If you enjoyed this mix, don't keep it to yourself. Spread the word by sharing it with your friends.
I listened in, yes, I'm guilty of this, you should know this. I broke down and wrote you back before you had a chance to forget, forgotten. I am moving past this, giving notice. I have to go, yes, I know the feeling, know you're leaving. I'm calling you to say I'm capsized, staring on the edge of safe. I'm calling back to say I'm home now, I'm coming around, coming around. Well, nobody likes to, but I really like to cry. Nobody likes me, maybe, if I cry. Spelled out your name and list the reasons, faint of heart, don't call me back. I imagine you and I was distant, not insistent. I followed suit and laid out on my back, imagine that. A million hours left, I think of you and think of that. I'm calling you to say I'm capsized, staring on the edge of safe. I'm calling back to say I'm home now, I'm coming around, coming around. Well, nobody likes to, but I really like to cry. Well, nobody likes me, maybe, if I cry. Circle me, I need to be taken down. Encircle me, I need to be taken down. Encircle me, I need to be taken down. Encircle me, I need to be taken down. Well, nobody likes to, but I really like to cry. Well, nobody likes me, maybe, if I cry. Nobody, 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 nobody. Encircle me, I need to be taken down. Encircle me, I need to be taken down. Encircle me, I need to be taken down.
Easily one of my favorite albums of this era, The Con by Tegan and Sara. Back in the early days when Paramore was like selling our own merch and we were hanging out after shows, until the bus or the van left the venue, we got to have a lot of really cool hangs with fans. And I don't even think we thought of them as fans. We still really don't. It feels crude or something. It doesn't feel right. But It was actually a Paramore fan that let me know that Tegan and Sara's new record had come out, and they had all these YouTube videos that were out in support of the album. And so I feel like this record was one that I listened to on the tour bus a lot while we were touring Riot. And I always take the back bunk on the top left. And I was up there with my little computer and my headphones, and I was watching all these YouTube videos. It probably wasn't even on YouTube. It was probably on their website, because that was back when fans really put a lot of time into their websites. But I was just listening to the con like all night, and I would just sit there. I would be on Instant Messenger, or I would be journaling, or just kind of having alone time listening to the con by myself in my bunk. And it was like a super comforting record to come off stage and get into my PJs, crawl up in the bunk and put this one on. Take some time and listen to the con. This record is really special. Okay, it's time for AOB, Any Other Business. This is where I share with you what I'm digging right now, and in return, I would love for you to share with me what you're also into. You can do that by sending me a message or a voice note on WhatsApp. The number, get your pen and paper out, is 07340 100 100. Please start your message with the word emo and head to bbc.co.uk/emo for all the T and C's. That's terms and conditions. There's a band that I really want you guys to know about. They are a brand new band, but they are made up of members of much beloved bands from the emo and post-hardcore scene. In the early 2000s, we're talking Drive Like Jehu and Pinback. The fact that this new band exists, comprised of members of very important bands to this particular subgenre, is just so rad. This is a band called Plosives. Plosives are like when you hear someone talk on a microphone and it's like someone's really sibilant, aka me. I'm so sibilant that we have to put 2 pop filters on my mic when I record. So I just like this name because of that. But I really love this song, Broken Eyes. Okay, so for our final shuffle track, we're gonna put A Fever You Can't Sweat Out back on shuffle. Let's see what we get.
Now I'm of consenting age to be forgetting you in a cabaret somewhere downtown where a burlesque queen may even ask my name as she sheds her skin on stage. I'm seated and sweating to a dance song on the club's PA. The strip joint veteran sits to a wave, smirking between dignified tips of his dignified peach and lime daiquiri. And isn't this exactly where you like me? I'm exactly where you like me, you know. Praying for love in a lap dance and banging naivety. Oh, isn't this exactly where you like me? I'm exactly where you like me, you know. Praying for love in a lap dance and banging naivety. Oh, but I'm afraid that I may have faked it and I wouldn't be caught dead in this place. Well, I'm afraid that that's right, well, I may have faked it and I wouldn't be caught dead in this place. And isn't this exactly where you like me? I'm exactly where you like me, you know. Praying for love in a lap dance and banging naivety. Oh, isn't this exactly where you like me? I'm exactly where you like me, you know. Praying for love in a lap dance and banging naivety. Well, I'm afraid that I may have faked it and I wouldn't be caught dead in this place. Well, I'm afraid that that's right, well, I may have faked it and I wouldn't be caught dead in this place. And isn't this exactly where you like me? I'm exactly where you like me, you know. Praying for love in a lap dance and banging naivety. Oh, isn't this exactly where you like me? I'm exactly where you like me, you know. Praying for love in a lap dance and banging naivety. Praying for love and banging naivety. Praying for love and banging naivety. Oh.
But it's better if you do. Are you cheering? Are you clapping? Are you happy? I think this is a great song to end our On Shuffle programming for this episode because I feel like I'm in an old cabaret hearing this live. And the line, praying for love in a lap dance, that's peak Panic at the Disco. I feel like that epitomizes the album to me. Because there's so much silly humor on this record and sarcasm. And again, there's just so many references to, I mean, I guess what I imagine it would be like growing up in a town like Vegas. In the next episode, the album that I'm going to put on shuffle is none other than Wish from The Cure. I was put onto The Cure around the time I was 13 or 14. It's been my favorite Cure album since then, and it's one of my favorite albums of all time because I have so many memories tied to it. I loved Robert Smith so much that I used to dream of him as a teenager. I would dream things like him coming to visit me at school and having lunch with me in the lunchroom. I would dream that he went on trips with me. I just thought he was so cool. And it wasn't even like romantic. I just thought he was cool and I wanted to be his friend. Fast forward many, many, many years later, Paramore, we were one of the headliners, Reading and Leeds, in 2012, was it? And we played with The Cure. And Taylor and I were able to catch Robert Smith after he came off stage and take a photo with him. It was such a moment for me. And, you know, my favorite song on the record is High, and they played it at Reading and Leeds that year, and I just felt like I was floating over the crowd. It just felt so euphoric. Even the dark, sad stuff is euphoric. And I always love that Robert Smith talks about singing sad lyrics or, super introspective lyrics over otherwise happy sounding songs. And I feel like that's a formula that I have really clung to throughout the years with Paramore. And I really do credit my love for Robert Smith. So to end this episode, this is my favorite song from The Cure. It's High. Enjoy.
When I see you, sky's a kite, as high as I might, I can't